I've been hearing lots of talk about Andre Drummond signing with the Lakers or LaMarcus Aldridge signing with the Nets, but one really important story that I haven't heard anybody talking about is who are the Golden State Warriors going to sign with their two open roster spots? I think this is a huge deal, and making the right decision on who's going to fill those spots will catapult the Warriors back into the conversation as a team that could really make some noise in the playoffs. I've got some thoughts of my own, and I'm going to tell you about it in today's video. First though, guys, my name is Troy. This is the Half Court Report YouTube channel. While you're here, make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, sit back and listen while I offer up some ideas for the Golden State Warriors. So yeah, two open roster spots. That's pretty cool, right? And this may have slipped by a lot of folks watching, so let me explain the situation. Last week at the trade deadline, the Warriors made two separate deals involving center Marquise Chriss and backup point guard Brad Wanamaker. Chriss was traded to the San Antonio Spurs. Remember, he only played in 2 games this year before a leg injury knocked him out for the rest of the season. He was taking up one of the Dubs' 15 roster spots, but he was not playing. And then with Brad Wanamaker, he was traded to the Charlotte Hornets. Wanamaker came off the bench for 39 games and averaged under 5 points per. In all honesty, probably better suited as a third-string guy on a team like the Warriors instead of a backup who was getting consistent minutes. Now, on the surface, the trades wouldn't appear to move the NBA needle a whole lot. But because the Warriors traded 2 players who weren't contributing much, or in Marquise Chris's case, not at all, and didn't receive any players back in those trades, these moves allow the Warriors to bring in 2 new guys that actually can help. They'll be able to fortify their roster heading into the rest of the season and a potentially deep playoff run. Okay, that all makes sense? You picking up what I'm putting down? So of course that leaves the question, who will the Golden State Warriors bring in now? In a recent press conference, Warriors general manager Bob Myers said the front office will, quote, look at everything before making a decision about how to fill the team's 2 open spots. He did not, however, take questions on the type of product he uses in his hair. That's unfortunate. So the Warriors can go in a few directions with this, and they're going to start with the buyout market. You've probably heard the buyout market has been in the news a lot lately because, after all, it was the buyout market that allowed the Nets to sign Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge, and it also allowed the Lakers to sign Andre Drummond. Now, with a lot of the big buyout names already signed to new teams, it's unlikely that Golden State can get something of Andre Drummond's caliber. But ask yourself this, do the Warriors really need that? I mean, come on, they've got the offense covered with Steph Curry. They've got the defense covered with Draymond Green. What the Warriors need are players that can fill a role. They need players that have experience and can come in and keep the engine running while the stars take a break, or take some of the pressure off the stars. Marquise Chriss and Brad Wanamaker weren't the type of players to do that. Who would have thought, huh? Here's a few names I have on my list that the Warriors should seriously consider. If you're looking at guards, the first name I like is Avery Bradley. He was just traded to the Houston Rockets by Miami at the deadline as part of the Victor Oladipo trade. There is no future for Bradley on a rebuilding Rockets team. But with the Warriors, he'd slide in immediately as a lockdown defender and a guy who can shoot it from 3. Another option would be Bradley's teammate Kelly Olynyk. He also came over in the Oladipo trade and doesn't fit with Houston's long-term plans. Olynyk is a stretch big, a solid rebounder, and he knows how to play a complementary role with other stars. And since he can play the 5 spot, he'd also be able to step in on those nights when James Wiseman is in foul trouble and can't get it going offensively. If Bradley or Olynyk get bought out, look for the Warriors to move in. I'm also keeping my eye on Otto Porter Jr. He was traded to the Orlando Magic in the Vucevic trade, but Orlando, like Houston, is tanking and might look to move off of Porter. This is a player who's dealt with injuries, but when he's on the floor, he's extremely effective in knocking down shots. He's a gifted offensive player. The Dubs would be getting a good wing and a solid guy in the locker room with an Otto Porter signing. Another name to think about is Lakers center Marc Gasol. Los Angeles had hopes that Gasol would be able to stretch the floor and add playmaking to their offense. But let's face it, he has struggled to be a consistent producer, averaging under 5 points, under 4 rebounds, and about 2 assists per game in 20 minutes this season. With Drummond now on the team, the Lakers are likely to rely on him to handle the bulk of minutes at center, which could lead to Marc Gasol falling out of the rotation. That's not something he signed up for, so a buyout may be on the horizon, and I think the Warriors might be a better fit for the former NBA champion. And then we got to talk about Linsanity. A lot of fans are clamoring for the Warriors to sign Jeremy Lin. He's an NBA champion who's still only 32 years old. He finished as the G League's 7th leading scorer this season, averaging 20 points per game on 50% shooting from the field, 43% from 3. Add to that averages of over 6 assists and over 3 rebounds per game. He would undoubtedly give you more than Brad Wanamaker, and it would be an awesome story for the Warriors and the NBA. The question is, though, would he impede the development of an up-and-coming Warriors backcourt of Nico Mannion and Jordan Poole? Another option would be converting the two-way contracts of Juan Toscano-Anderson or Nico Mannion into regular NBA deals. The Warriors could then sign them to long-term deals to avoid them entering restricted free agency this summer and possibly run the risk of another team signing them away. With those open two-way spots, one of those could go to Santa Cruz Warriors center Caleb Wesson. I think he would really fit the bill. I'm surprised no team has taken a shot at Wesson yet. He's a 21-year-old undrafted rookie out of Ohio State. He's shown the potential as a shot blocker and a floor-spacing big man. This type of signing would be less of a win-now type of move and more of a move looking toward the future, but I think it could pay off. The Warriors front office also acknowledged that they've considered bringing 2020 second-round pick Justinian Jessup over from the Australian National Basketball League. He's currently playing for the Illawarra Hawks, which is the same team that LaMelo Ball played for last year. However, bringing over Jessup might be counterproductive since the Warriors would have to buy him out of his current contract, and the team values his opportunity to develop while starting for the Hawks. Regardless of what happens, though, the Warriors have shown their player development is solid, which would be really good for a younger player. Additionally, they are a team with stars, and that's appealing to NBA veterans. Guys, tell me in the comments what you want to see happen. Make sure to leave a like on this video before you go to help support the channel. And you want to make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss another NBA video. As for me, I'm going to go watch some Brad Wanamaker highlights. Okay, I'm back.